Ryan Little.
Japan.
Hello YouTube, and today I have a very special racket review. This is the Astrox 100ZZ. They have another iteration of the Astrox 100, which is the ZX, and I'll be making a review and comparison between this racket and that racket. So let me just give you some quick intro specs about this racket. So I have the 4U G5 model here, so 4U slightly lighter than 3U, and the G5 model is a slightly smaller grip size than the G4. This racket has an extra stiff shaft, whereas on the 99 and the 88, they have stiff shafts, so this one's just slightly stiffer. This racket sports a whole load of changes from the previous rackets in this series. This racket is made in Japan, just like many of the other high-end YONEX rackets, and the recommended retail price of this racket is £220, which is slightly more than the other rackets in this series, but that is to be expected because this is a Z model and it's like the most premium option you can get. The recommended string tension for this model, which is a 4U model, is 20 to 28 pounds of tension, and for the 3U model is 21 to 29 pounds of tension. Previously, I'm using the BG66 Force, which is basically my favorite string to use on this racket because it's good for power. And for people that like a bit more control, I suggest them to go with the Aerobite Boost. But I switched to BG80 string because I broke the BG66 Force and wanted to try out a different style of string. But I find the BG80 doesn't perform as well as the BG66 Force. Victor Axelsen is the main ambassador of this racket. So now that I've given you like a brief introduction, let's talk more about the technology used in this racket before we talk about how it actually performs. Something quick to point out, but it's kind of important because it allows for a bit of comparison between other rackets in the series. So you have, for example, like the Astrox 88S, which is 5mm longer than conventional rackets, but it's still shorter than the 88D and the 99. The 88S has a bit of a shorter design, so it allows for better maneuverability. This racket still has the 10mm longer length. Longer size gives you a bit more leverage, so it's a bit better for power play. So it's exactly the same length as the 88D and the 99. The Astrox 100ZZ has a similar but different design to the Astrox 100ZX. Both rackets share the same kind of design language with the half matte and half glossy design. You can see here on the Astrox 100ZZ, there's a purplish blue pearlescent colorway, which is in a matte finish, whereas on the darker side with the orange highlight, it is glossy. The frame of this racket is made from tungsten, black microcore, high modulus graphite, NAM graphite, and nanometric. The shaft of this racket is made from NAM graphite and also high modulus graphite. It's a little bit different to the materials used in the ZX, but I'll go into more detail on the ZX on that review and also make a comparison video to kind of give you a better idea of what's actually different between these two rackets. In terms of tech about this racket, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So I thought it would be more efficient to start with stuff that is more similar to the other rackets in this series and just other high-end YONEX rackets in the past. So the Astrox 100ZZ has nanometric, it has a new grommet pattern construction. Of course it has NAM because it's an Astrox racket. It has a solid field core to reduce miscellaneous vibrations, and of course it has the famous YONEX hybrid frame of the Aero and box frame. Bear in mind, this is not the same as the dual optimum system found in the Dual racket, so don't get confused with that. So what is different about the Astrox 100ZZ? As you can probably immediately notice about the Astrox 100, they both have tucked-in grommets. The Astrox 99, the 88 and the 77 doesn't have tucked-in grommets. Typically, like the Z models like these, they have tucked-in grommets. But there is something else that's different about the frame shape. The isometric shape in bantam rackets has been successful for a long time. It's good because it dramatically increases the sweet spot size over the previous older bantam racket head shape. There's loads of different head shapes and the isometric shape has been the best. And for a long time, they haven't really exactly changed the head shape of the racket much. I mean, they have done like the compact frame, for example, in the Z Force 2, the Dura Z Stripe, but that's about it. So on the Astrox 100, they actually increased the sweet spot size by changing the frame shape. A lot of people say in the past before that compact frames aren't as forgiving to players if they miss hit and stuff because the sweet spot size is relatively small compared to bigger frames. The reason that people like compact frames is because of the punchy feeling. It's like a solid kind of dense frame that you feel as soon as you hit the shuttle, and that gives you a bit more touch and control. By introducing a new head shape, you have now a bigger sweet spot size without sacrificing power, control, or even increasing air resistance by too much. Normally when rackets come out and they say they have a slimmer shaft, it's not that noticeable and I don't really take much regard of them. However, this time with this racket, even if you put this side to side to the newest models like the Astrox 99, the Astrox 88, or even like the Dura Z Strike, and you just feel it with your thumb, it is noticeable even to touch that it is slimmer. Another change with the shaft that you can't exactly see from the outside is that with this shaft they have a completely solid core. As you probably know, rackets nowadays, most of them have hollow shafts, and the reason for that is because they want to make it lighter and also slimmer. And with the implementation of the enam graphite in this series, they're able to make the shafts extremely light but solid core. And by adding a solid core, it actually gives you more snapback and it's beneficial in many ways. Having fast snapback in your shaft allows your racket to return to its original shape really quickly, so you can have precise control onto your next shot very fast. In addition, when you're using a lot of power and you're jump smashing, for example, if you look at slow motion videos, you will see that the racket actually lags behind like this and flexes as you swing the racket. Having a racket shaft that actually allows the racket to snap fast allows it to be easier for you to get steeper smashes. And of course, the thing is, like, if you want to hit steep smashes, you have to have the technique established in the first place to be able to reach the shuttle in its best and optimal position and then smash it down to get a good angle. What I'm saying is, with this racket, you'll just have a little bit of help when it comes to that, and it'll make it easier for you. In addition to having this kind of snap with a solid shaft, is that it gives you more power without losing control. In the past before, they've explored different rackets across different brands by having more flexible shafts, but that just typically leads to less touch and less precision when it comes to hitting accurate shots. But of course, it will give you more whip. This strikes a fine balance in between whip and also control. As you know, the Astrox series is famous because of its successful rotational generator system. It combines the power of a head-heavy racket whilst giving it the maneuverability of an even balanced racket, which is insane. They do this by having a counterweight at the top of the racket, the T-joint, and also the grip. It has been great so far. But however, on rackets like the 99 and also the 88D, some people still find the torque a bit too much. So in this racket, they adjusted the weights at these 3 points to give you quicker handling whilst not sacrificing any power at all. And whilst I'm on this point about like having the counterweights, they also reworked the T-joint in this racket. Another massive change in this racket is the implementation of the black micro core. It was first shown in the Voltric FB. The Voltric FB is a racket that's head heavy, but it's extremely light, about 70 something grams in comparison to typical rackets that are 80 something grams. And on paper, 10 or 15 grams doesn't seem much, but you would know as soon as you pick those rackets up in real life and swing them around that the weight differences make a big difference in the way you play. The issues with having extremely light rackets is the lack of the solid feel and the power behind it. But they're able to achieve good solid feel and good power in the Voltric FB due to the black micro core. And they haven't really used it in many rackets since. The black micro core is also quite special technology, hence why the Voltric FB is quite expensive too. So in the Astrox series, despite having a lot of power and good solidity, they want to make it even more powerful and even more solid by adding this to this series. Technically, you could argue it's a bit of an overkill, but if you're paying this premium price, then it's good to have all these features. A smaller difference that won't affect too many people, but I like personally, is the new Energy Boost Cap. They call it the Energy Boost Cap Plus. Essentially what you have in the Energy Boost Cap is two things. You have the part at the front where you put your thumb there, and essentially it's just meant to be more ergonomic to rest your thumb when you're doing like front court play, which isn't like a massive thing because a lot of people still put like grip tape over it and you kind of don't feel the effects unless you're like me. I pull the grip tape really tightly over that area, which means I can still feel the shape under the grip of the Energy Boost Cap. On the top of the Energy Boost Cap, you have the same U shape found on the 88s and also the 99. It's meant to direct the flex of the racket in the right direction, and also it reduces the twisting motion of this racket, which gives you more control. But this part isn't new. The only part that's different about the Energy Boost Cap is just the shape of it. It just feels better. Despite the flex of this racket being marketed as extra stiff, it is extremely forgiving to players. And what I mean by that is if you miss hit, the sweet spot is massive, so it doesn't feel like you're losing power very easily unless you're exactly hitting the side or something stupid like that. And also the snappy feel of it just feels like it's got really good power and it's really easy to generate. So as you probably know, extra stiff rackets and just stiff rackets in general, they require a strong technique to use because there's not much like natural flex of the racket to give you that power. It has to be all from the swinging motion. And people pick stiffer rackets because they like the control and feel of it. But now on this racket, you get the best of both worlds. You get the speed, the power, and also the precision. This racket is meant to be an all-rounded racket in terms of play style and also discipline. So it's good for singles and doubles. In the past before, the 99 is more suited towards singles and the 88s are more suited towards doubles. And a 77 was a racket that was kind of all-rounded and suited both singles and doubles, but it had a medium flex shaft and it wasn't really exactly targeted at extremely advanced players. Rackets in the past before mainly have one attribute when it comes to their speciality. For example, the 88s and the 99s, big smashing power, or the nano flares having quick frontal court domination. This racket excels in both attacking and defending, which is very much like the Dura Z Strike. I would say arguably the feel of this racket is most similar to the Dura Z Strike out of any racket in the YONEX lineup. But however, the feeling is still different because it has a different shaft, it has a different frame shape, and well, this doesn't have the dual optimum system, it has the rotational generator system. In terms of raw power with this racket, you'll get plenty. However, if you're looking for the biggest smashing racket, this is not the one. The 99 and the 88 still remain king for power. This racket excels in precision, control, and speed and handling. I am more of a doubles player than a singles player, hence why I've opted for the 4U model, so it's quicker to handle. I think for singles players, they would enjoy a 3U model of this racket a bit more due to more solidity and more stability in your shots by having a more weighted feel. In terms of grip sizing, it really doesn't matter what you get, it's all down to your hand size and your personal preference. However, for me, I think G5 is better because it is smaller than G4, and if you want to go to a bigger grip size, all you need to do is just tape it up more and there you go, you have a bigger grip size. But if your grip size of the racket is already too big, you can't exactly go smaller, if you know what I mean. So when new rackets get released, I don't automatically just say this is an upgrade, this is the best racket because it's the newest one. For example, even with the Astrox 99, I love that racket, but however, I did say in the video, it's just not an upgrade over the 88, the 77, or possibly even like the Voltrix Z Force 2. However, I do think the Astrox 100ZZ is a big step up from the previous rackets as it combines all of the good attributes of the previous successful rackets into one. And I can say that this racket is now my primary and favorite racket. The previous racket that I would say is my favorite racket is the Astrox 88D, but just before I end this video, do not automatically think, oh, this review sounds really good for this racket, I'm just going to automatically and quickly buy this racket. I actually suggest you to wait for the review on the ZX because it is a completely different racket with, of course, many similarities, but its own attributes are different to the Astrox 100ZZ. And by analysing both of these rackets separately in reviews and also combining it and doing a comparison video, I think it will help you make a better decision for your purchase. So make sure to like this video if you want to see that review, and I'll be checking the likes to see kind of how much you want it, because I know I've got a lot of videos lined up and I just need to sort out the priority on what I need to make first. In terms of like hitting the sweet spot, I don't think you'll have issues with it in the beginning because of the isometric rework. The reworked balance just makes it a lot easier to defend quick shots, even more so than the 88S, without sacrificing that kind of punch and power. So net shots have a lot of control with this racket, same with kills, of course because of the precision. I feel like drop shots and slice shots in particular excel with this racket. So what players is this racket recommended for? Well, you can probably tell by now, it is probably intermediate, higher intermediate to advanced players because it is just stiff and it's just a very, very high-end and premium racket with all the features that is designed for someone who already has a solid technique established. And in terms of pricing, just from personal experience, Z rackets tend to not go on sale that easily, like the Z Strike, the Z Force 2, and even just the Nano Z Speed. These rackets typically hold their value quite high, so there isn't really a point of waiting a couple of months just to save 10 or 20 pounds. Also, a quick format change for my videos in the future, including this one in terms of reviews, is that I don't want to make this video way too long when it comes to just sticking in gameplay at the end. So I'm going to be moving most of the gameplay onto my Instagram at ken_poison. I know some people don't have Instagram, but it's so quick to register. It takes 20 seconds. And on my Instagram, I'll be posting more and more badminton content. I know previously I haven't really been doing so, but I'm changing it up. And also I'll be filming more videos based on All England. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting my videos. On there I post weekly exclusive content. For just $1 a month you can view them and interact with me and just ask as many questions as you like. Stay tuned for the next videos.